I didn't notice him at first. Nobody ever does. The photo looked ordinary in every way that matters. Late afternoon light, the kind that softens edges and makes even boring streets feel warmer than they are. A sidewalk I'd walked 100 times, a bus stop, a few people caught mid-motion, heads turned away, faces unimportant. It was the kind of photo you post without thinking, scroll past later without remembering, and eventually forget entirely. That's the part that still bothers me. Because when I finally noticed him, it didn't feel like discovering something new. It felt like realizing I'd ignored something that had been waiting for me to look. Days later, I was lying in bed, phone inches from my face, doing what everyone does when they're avoiding sleep. Scrolling, not looking for anything, just letting the feed decide what I'd see next. My thumb stopped. Not because I saw something obvious, not because anything jumped out at me. It stopped because something felt wrong before I understood why. I went back. I zoomed in. That's when I saw him. He was in the background, far enough away that I could have missed him again if I'd blinked. A figure leaning slightly forward, weight pitched toward the camera in a way that didn't quite make sense. He wasn't centered. He wasn't framed. He wasn't important to the photo at all. And yet my eyes wouldn't let go of him. I tried to make out his face. It didn't resolve. At first, I blamed the camera, motion blur, focus issues, compression. The same excuses everyone uses when a digital image doesn't behave the way we expect it to. But the blur felt wrong. Not distorted, not smeared, just incomplete. Like my brain was waiting for details that never arrived. What unsettled me most was the familiarity, the quiet sense that I should recognize him. Like passing someone in public who looks almost exactly like a person you know, close enough to trigger memory, wrong enough to make you doubt it. I stared longer than I should have. The longer I looked, the more uncomfortable I became. I told myself it was nothing, a stranger walking through the frame, a coincidence amplified by boredom and poor lighting. The human brain is excellent at inventing meaning when it's given silence. I closed the app. I didn't zoom in again. I didn't delete the photo. I didn't tell anyone. I went to sleep convinced that was the end of it. It wasn't. The next morning, I checked my older photos. Not because I wanted to, because I couldn't stop myself. I started with recent uploads, then older ones, then photos I hadn't looked at in months. He was there again, different location, different day, same posture. In one image, he stood behind a street sign, partially obscured, arms hanging too low at his sides. In another, he blended into a small crowd, dressed appropriately, doing nothing that should have drawn attention, always leaning forward, always slightly off, always in the background. And in the older photos, he was farther away. In the newer ones, he was closer. I stopped posting that day. No explanation, no announcement. I just went quiet. At first, it felt dramatic, overreactive. But something in my gut told me it was the right move. If I didn't give him new images, maybe he'd stop appearing. For a while, it seemed to work. No new photos, no new sightings. The silence felt fragile, temporary. That night, I found the thread. It didn't show up the way things normally do, online. It wasn't trending, it wasn't indexed properly. I found it through a repost of a screenshot, cropped badly, shared by an account that no longer existed. The title was simple. Anyone else seeing the same guy in their photos? The comments were worse. Different people, different cities, different platforms. The same descriptions repeated over and over again. A man in the background, slightly blurred face, wrong posture, always closer than before. Some people posted images with red circles drawn and shaking lines. Others refused to post proof at all. One comment had no username, no timestamp. If you're seeing him, you've already been noticed. The thread didn't last long. When I refreshed, images vanished. When I checked again later, the page redirected to nothing. But the words stayed with me. I started testing things. Mirrors showed nothing. Live reflections meant nothing unless they were recorded. If no camera was involved, he didn't appear. The moment a lens entered the equation, phone, laptop, security camera, he returned. It wasn't that he followed me. It was that he existed where I was being captured. That was the moment it clicked. He wasn't in the world the way we are. He lived in the space between being seen and being saved, between being recorded and being remembered. He didn't walk toward people. He moved through feeds. Before I went to sleep, I broke my own rule. I checked one last photo, the most recent one, the one I'd posted without thinking, the one that started all of this. I zoomed in slowly, already afraid of what I'd find. He wasn't in the background anymore. He was closer than I remembered.